Bringing timeless Buddhist principles to everyday life, we explore mindfulness, compassion, and self-awareness in a modern context. By connecting ancient wisdom to today's challenges, we guide you toward inner peace, clarity, and resilience. Welcome to Radiant Wisdom.
Welcome to Radiant Wisdom, a space where ancient teachings meet modern life. Here we explore the timeless lessons of Buddhism and how they can help us navigate the complexities of our world with peace, clarity, and compassion. If you're looking for insights to enrich your mind and uplift your soul, you've come to the right place. Now, before we dive in, I want to take a moment to invite you to join our community. If you enjoy this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It helps spread these messages to others who might need them. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any future episodes, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your experiences and reflections. After all, each of us has a unique perspective, and together we can inspire and learn from one another. Let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself exhausted, frustrated, or even hurt after dealing with someone who seems to bring nothing but negativity into your life? Perhaps it's a coworker, a family member, or even a friend. You try to stay calm, to be patient, but no matter what you do, their words or actions seem to linger, affecting your mood, your energy, and sometimes even your sense of self-worth. If that resonates with you, you're not alone. Toxic people are a challenge that most of us will encounter at some point in our lives. Their behaviors, whether it's constant criticism, manipulation, or a general disregard for others, can test even the most patient and kind-hearted among us. But what if there was a way to approach these situations without anger or resentment? What if instead of feeling powerless or drained, you could respond with wisdom, compassion, and inner strength? What if these challenging interactions could even become opportunities for personal growth and spiritual awakening? The good news is there is a way. Buddhism offers profound and practical insights for dealing with toxic people. Insights that don't just help us protect our peace, but also guide us toward greater understanding, compassion, and resilience. These teachings remind us that we can choose how we respond to negativity, and that every interaction, no matter how difficult, holds the potential to transform us for the better. In today's video, we're going to explore this topic in depth. We'll uncover how Buddhist philosophy can help us understand the roots of toxic behavior, practice loving kindness, even toward those who challenge us, and set boundaries with compassion and clarity. You'll also learn how to let go of resentment, recognize harmful relationships, and turn adversity into a path for spiritual growth. By the end of this video, you'll have not only a better understanding of how to deal with toxic people, but also a deeper appreciation for the power of compassion and mindfulness in navigating life's challenges. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're tools you can use every day to protect your peace, nurture your spirit, and promote harmony in your relationships. So, grab a cup of tea, find a comfortable spot, and take a deep breath. Let's embark on this journey together. One that's not just about managing toxic relationships, but also about discovering a more peaceful, mindful way of living. Thank you for being here today, for investing in your well-being and the well-being of those around you. And as we begin, let me remind you, kindness and wisdom are always within reach, even in the face of difficulty. Let's take this first step together. All right, let's dive in. Understanding toxicity through the Buddhist lens. To truly address the challenges of dealing with toxic people, we must first take a step back and understand what drives their behavior. Buddhism offers us a unique lens for this, a way of looking at the world that emphasizes interconnectedness, compassion, and the underlying causes of human suffering. In Buddhist philosophy, toxic behavior isn't seen as an inherent trait of an individual, but rather as a symptom of deeper struggles within. At the core of Buddhist teachings is the concept of dukkha, often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction. It's the universal experience of discomfort or unease, something we all face in varying degrees. For toxic individuals, their behaviors often stem from their own unresolved pain, ignorance, or attachment. The Buddha taught that human suffering is largely driven by three root causes, often referred to as the three poisons: greed, hatred, and delusion. These mental states distort our perception of reality and drive harmful behaviors. A toxic person may act out of greed, seeking control or validation at the expense of others. They may be consumed by hatred, projecting their inner turmoil onto those around them. Or they may be trapped in delusion, unable to see the impact of their actions or the harm they cause. Understanding these underlying causes doesn't excuse toxic behavior, but it does help us see it with greater clarity. Instead of viewing such individuals as bad or evil, we begin to recognize that their actions are a reflection of their own suffering. This shift in perspective is powerful because it allows us to respond with compassion rather than anger or resentment. Compassion, or karuna, is a central pillar of Buddhist practice. It's the ability to empathize with the pain of others and to wish for their well-being. When we encounter toxic behavior, it's easy to react with frustration, judgment, or even hostility. But Buddhism challenges us to look deeper. It asks us to consider, what pain might this person be carrying? What unmet needs or unresolved struggles are driving their actions? This doesn't mean we have to accept or tolerate harmful behavior. Instead, it's about cultivating a mindset that sees beyond the surface. Toxic individuals are often trapped in a cycle of their own suffering, unable to break free. By recognizing this, we create space for compassion, not to change them, but to protect our own peace and foster understanding. Another key teaching in Buddhism is the concept of interbeing, a term popularized by Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. It emphasizes that all beings are interconnected and our actions ripple outward to affect the whole. This interconnectedness reminds us that the toxic behavior of others doesn't exist in isolation. It's influenced by their experiences, relationships, and internal struggles. When we understand this, we can approach these individuals with a sense of perspective and patience. At the same time, Buddhism doesn't shy away from acknowledging the harm toxic behavior can cause. The Buddha was clear in his teachings about the importance of discernment and wisdom. He encouraged his followers to carefully evaluate their relationships and surroundings, to recognize what promotes growth and what hinders it. Toxic behavior, if left unchecked, can drain our energy, disrupt our peace, and lead us away from our spiritual path. Recognizing this is the first step in addressing it effectively. Finally, it's important to reflect on the impermanence of all things, a core Buddhist principle. Just as joy and peace are fleeting, so too are the difficulties and challenges we face. Toxic behavior, no matter how disruptive, is not a permanent state. People can change, and situations can evolve. By keeping this impermanence in mind, we avoid falling into despair or feeling trapped by the negativity of others. So, when you encounter toxic individuals, remember this: their behavior is not about you. It's a reflection of their own suffering. By understanding this through a Buddhist lens, you can approach these challenges with wisdom, compassion, and clarity, protecting your peace without carrying their burdens. And as we move forward in this journey, we'll explore practical ways to apply these insights to your daily life. Practicing loving kindness, meditation. Now that we've explored the roots of toxic behavior through a Buddhist lens, let's shift our focus to a powerful practice that can transform the way we respond to negativity. Loving kindness meditation, or Metta. This ancient Buddhist practice teaches us how to cultivate feelings of goodwill, compassion, and warmth, not just for ourselves, but for all beings, even those who challenge us the most. So why is Metta so effective? When we interact with toxic people, our initial reactions often stem from frustration, anger, or resentment. These emotions may feel justified, but they only deepen the negativity we're trying to escape. Loving-kindness meditation, on the other hand, helps us break this cycle. It's like a soothing balm for our minds and hearts, allowing us to replace negativity with compassion and a sense of inner peace. Let's take a moment to understand how Metta works. The practice begins with sending loving kindness to yourself. This step is essential because you can't pour from an empty cup. To truly extend compassion to others, you must first learn to nurture and care for your own heart. Begin by silently repeating phrases like, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. May I live with ease." As you repeat these phrases, visualize yourself as the recipient of these wishes. Picture yourself surrounded by warmth and light, enveloped in a sense of kindness. Once you've cultivated loving kindness for yourself, you gradually extend it outward, first to someone you love, a family member, a dear friend, or anyone who brings joy into your life. Repeat the same phrases, directing them toward this person. Imagine their happiness, their peace, and their freedom from suffering. From there, you expand your circle further. Next, you send loving kindness to someone neutral, perhaps a neighbor, a coworker, or someone you don't know well. And then finally, you reach the most challenging step, directing metta towards someone who has caused you pain, perhaps a toxic individual in your life. This step may feel unnatural at first. Why should you wish happiness for someone who has hurt you? But here's the transformative truth. Loving kindness meditation isn't about condoning toxic behavior or excusing harm. It's about freeing yourself from the grip of negative emotions. When you hold on to anger or resentment, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. By practicing metta, you're choosing to release that poison and reclaim your peace. As you direct loving kindness toward this difficult person, repeat the phrases with sincerity. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from suffering. May you live with ease. You don't have to force yourself to feel immediate love or warmth. It's enough to simply hold the intention. Over time, this practice softens the edges of your resentment and creates space for compassion to grow. One of the most beautiful aspects of metta meditation is that it doesn't just benefit you, it ripples outward into your relationships and beyond. When you cultivate loving kindness, you become less reactive and more grounded. You're able to approach difficult interactions with calmness and clarity, rather than letting negativity consume you. Even scientific research supports the power of metta. Studies have shown that practicing loving-kindness meditation can reduce stress, increase feelings of social connection, and even improve physical health. It's a reminder that kindness isn't just an abstract virtue, it's a practical tool for well-being. As you integrate metta into your life, remember that it's a practice, not a quick fix. Some days it will feel effortless, and other days it may feel nearly impossible. That's okay. What matters is your willingness to show up, to keep opening your heart, and to trust the process. So, the next time you encounter a toxic person, take a deep breath and turn inward. Instead of reacting with anger, pause and silently repeat, "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from suffering." You might be surprised at how this small shift can transform not only your interactions, but your entire perspective. Loving kindness doesn't mean you accept harmful behavior. It means you choose to protect your peace while wishing others well on their own journey. In the end, metta reminds us that compassion is a strength, not a weakness. By practicing loving kindness, we break free from the chains of negativity and move closer to the Buddha's path of liberation and inner peace. Setting boundaries with compassion. While Buddhism emphasizes compassion and kindness, it doesn't mean allowing others to harm us or invade our peace. Compassion, when practiced wisely, includes knowing how to protect ourselves while still wishing others well. That's where the concept of setting boundaries with compassion comes in. For many, the idea of setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable. We might worry that it's unkind or that it will push others away. But in Buddhism, self-care is not selfish. It's a necessary act of respect for yourself and others. The Buddha taught that maintaining your own well-being is essential if you want to bring peace and kindness into the world. You can't pour from an empty cup. So, how do we set boundaries in a way that aligns with Buddhist principles? It begins with clarity. Understanding your own limits and recognizing when a relationship or interaction starts to harm your emotional or mental health. Toxic individuals often blur boundaries, either by dominating your time, disrespecting your space, or creating unnecessary conflict. It's important to be honest with yourself about what you can and cannot handle without losing your sense of balance. One helpful Buddhist teaching here is the principle of upaya, or skillful means. This is the idea that we can adapt our approach to different situations in a way that minimizes harm and promotes harmony. When it comes to setting boundaries, this means finding a way to communicate your needs with both honesty and kindness. For example, if someone's behavior is consistently harmful, you might say, "I care about our relationship, but I need to take a step back because this dynamic is impacting my well-being." Or if you want to limit interactions, you can gently express, "I value our connection, but I need to set some time aside for myself right now." Notice how these statements are direct yet compassionate. They don't blame or attack the other person, but they clearly assert your needs. This approach respects both your boundaries and the dignity of the other person, aligning with the Buddhist value of non-harming, or ahimsa. Another important aspect of setting boundaries is understanding that it's okay to limit your exposure to toxic individuals. In fact, the Buddha himself often advised his followers to avoid relationships that hindered their spiritual growth. In the Sigalava Sutta, he identified harmful types of companions, such as those who lead others into trouble or take advantage of their kindness. While we should strive for compassion, it doesn't mean staying in situations that drain us or cause suffering. In Buddhism, there's a phrase that encapsulates this balance: compassionate distance. This means creating space between yourself and someone whose behavior is harmful, not out of anger or resentment, but out of care for your own well-being. It's a way of maintaining your inner peace while still wishing the other person well. You can practice metta meditation for them from afar, sending them thoughts of kindness and healing without allowing their negativity to disrupt your life. Letting go of guilt is also essential when setting boundaries. Many of us feel obligated to endure toxic relationships out of loyalty or fear of conflict. But remember, Buddhism teaches the importance of right action, one of the steps on the Noble Eightfold Path. Right action means behaving in ways that promote harmony and reduce suffering, not just for others, but for yourself as well. By setting healthy boundaries, you're taking right action to protect your peace and create space for more positive energy in your life. Lastly, boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about taking responsibility for your own emotional and mental health. Toxic individuals may resist or push back against your boundaries, and that's okay. Their reactions are not your responsibility. What matters is that you remain grounded in your truth, with a clear intention to protect your well-being while staying compassionate. In practice, setting boundaries might mean limiting the time you spend with a toxic person, avoiding certain topics of conversation, or even stepping away from the relationship entirely. Each situation is different, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution. But by approaching this process with mindfulness, kindness, and a commitment to your own peace, you can navigate these challenges in a way that honors both yourself and others. Remember, compassion doesn't mean sacrificing yourself to meet the needs of others. It's about creating balance, caring for others while also caring for yourself. As the Buddha said, you, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. So, when you set boundaries, do so with love, not just for the other person, but for yourself as well. In this way, you create a space where healing, understanding, and peace can flourish for both you and those around you. Embracing acceptance and letting go. As we continue to explore how to deal with toxic individuals, we arrive at one of the most transformative Buddhist teachings, the art of embracing acceptance and letting go. In a world where so much feels beyond our control, these principles offer a path to inner peace and resilience. In Buddhism, acceptance doesn't mean passivity or resignation. It's not about condoning harmful behavior or allowing others to mistreat us. Rather, it's about acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance or attachment. When faced with a toxic person, it's easy to fall into the trap of wishing they were different or obsessing over how unfairly they've treated us. But these thoughts only deepen our suffering, keeping us stuck in cycles of frustration and resentment. The Buddha taught that much of our pain comes from clinging, grasping tightly to expectations, outcomes, or ideas of how things should be. When we encounter toxic behavior, we may cling to the hope that the person will change, that they'll suddenly see the error of their ways, or that we'll finally find the perfect words to make them understand. This attachment keeps us bound to their negativity, draining our energy and disrupting our peace. Instead, Buddhism invites us to practice upekkha, or equanimity. This is the ability to remain calm and balanced, even in the face of challenges. By accepting people and situations as they are, we free ourselves from the emotional turmoil of trying to control what's beyond our power. But how do we cultivate this acceptance in the face of toxic behavior? It begins with a shift in perspective. Buddhism reminds us that toxic individuals are often acting out of their own suffering, ignorance, or inner conflict. By seeing their behavior as a reflection of their struggles, rather than a personal attack, we can approach the situation with greater understanding. Acceptance also involves recognizing the impermanence of all things. Nothing in life, including toxic relationships, is fixed or unchanging. People grow, situations evolve, and the pain we feel today will not last forever. This awareness of impermanence helps us let go of the emotional weight we carry and trust in the natural flow of life. Letting go is the second piece of this practice, and it's perhaps the most liberating. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or turning your back on someone entirely. It's about releasing the mental and emotional attachments that keep you tied to their toxicity. It's about choosing peace over the need to be right, to fix, or to hold on to resentment. One powerful tool for letting go is mindfulness meditation. When you find yourself ruminating over a toxic interaction, pause and bring your attention to the present moment. Focus on your breath, the sensations in your body, or the sounds around you. Notice your thoughts without judgment and gently remind yourself that you don't have to hold on to them. Another practice that supports letting go is forgiveness, not for the other person's sake, but for your own. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior or allowing it to continue. It means releasing the anger and resentment that weigh you down. As the Buddha said, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. When you forgive, you're not saying that what they did was okay. You're saying that you refuse to let their actions control your inner peace. At times, letting go might also mean physically distancing yourself from a toxic individual. This is not a failure of compassion, but an act of wisdom and self-care. By stepping back, you create space for healing, both for yourself and, potentially, for the other person. Ultimately, embracing acceptance and letting go is about reclaiming your power. It's about recognizing that while you can't control the actions of others, you can control how you respond. You can choose peace over conflict, compassion over resentment, and freedom over attachment. As we close this section, let me share one final thought. Letting go is not a one-time event. It's a practice, something you return to again and again. There will be days when it feels easy and days when it feels impossible. Be patient with yourself. The path to inner peace is a journey, not a destination. By practicing acceptance and letting go, you free yourself from the chains of negativity and open the door to a life filled with clarity, balance, and joy. And in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. This is the true essence of Buddhist wisdom, transforming adversity into a path of growth and awakening. recognizing harmful relationships. In our journey to deal with toxic individuals, one of the most crucial steps is recognizing when a relationship has become harmful. This isn't always easy, especially when emotions, history, or a sense of obligation are involved. However, Buddhism offers wisdom to help us discern the nature of our relationships and guide us toward healthier connections. The Buddha himself spoke about the importance of surrounding ourselves with wise, kind, and supportive individuals. In the Sigalovada Sutta, he described 4 types of people to avoid in our lives: the taker, the talker, the flatterer, and the reckless companion. These categories remain as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Let's take a closer look at these traits to understand what makes a relationship harmful. First, there is the taker, someone who is primarily focused on what they can gain from you. This individual may appear friendly or well-meaning on the surface, but their interactions are often transactional. They may ask for your time, energy, or resources without offering genuine support or reciprocity in return. Over time, this one-sided dynamic can leave you feeling drained, undervalued, and resentful. Next is the talker, the person who makes empty promises or speaks grandly about helping but rarely follows through. While their words may seem encouraging, their lack of action reveals a lack of sincerity. Being around someone like this can erode your trust and make you question the reliability of those you count on. Then there is the flatterer, someone who praises you indiscriminately but lacks genuine care or authenticity. While flattery might feel good in the moment, over time it can lead to shallow, insincere relationships. True friendship is built on honesty, not empty compliments. Finally, there is the reckless companion, someone who encourages harmful behaviors, either directly or indirectly. This might be a person who leads you into unhealthy habits, creates unnecessary conflict, or pressures you to compromise your values. Such relationships can disrupt your peace and pull you away from the path of mindfulness and growth. Recognizing these traits in others can be uncomfortable, especially when they involve people we care about. But it's important to remember that awareness is the first step toward change. Once you've identified a harmful relationship, you can begin to assess its impact on your well-being and make mindful decisions about how to proceed. Buddhism teaches us that relationships should foster mutual respect, compassion, and growth. A supportive relationship feels balanced and uplifting. It brings out the best in both individuals, helping each other navigate life's challenges with kindness and understanding. So, how do we discern whether a relationship is truly supportive or harmful? Start by reflecting on how you feel after interacting with someone. Do you leave feeling uplifted, or do you feel drained, anxious, or uneasy? Pay attention to patterns rather than isolated incidents. Everyone has bad days. But if someone consistently causes harm or discomfort, it's worth examining the dynamic more closely. It's also helpful to consider whether the relationship aligns with your values. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of right association, spending time with those who encourage ethical behavior, mindfulness, and wisdom. Ask yourself, does this person inspire me to grow? Do they respect my boundaries? Do they contribute to my peace? Or do they take it away? Once you've recognized a harmful relationship, you may need to make changes. This doesn't always mean cutting ties entirely. Sometimes it's possible to adjust the relationship in a way that protects your well-being. This could involve setting boundaries, limiting interactions, or shifting your expectations. However, in some cases, especially when the relationship is deeply toxic, it may be necessary to let go entirely. Letting go of a relationship is never easy, and it's natural to feel sadness, guilt, or even fear. But remember, Buddhism teaches us that everything is impermanent, including relationships. Just as people come into our lives for a reason, sometimes they must leave for a reason too. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring about the person. It means you're choosing to care for yourself. At the heart of this practice is compassion, not only for others, but also for yourself. Recognizing harmful relationships and taking steps to address them is an act of self-respect and self-love. It allows you to create space for healthier connections and to protect your inner peace. In the end, the relationships we nurture should reflect the values we hold dear: kindness, honesty, and mutual support. By recognizing harmful relationships and making mindful choices, we can surround ourselves with people who uplift us and inspire us to live with greater wisdom and compassion. Transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. As we navigate the complexities of toxic relationships, it's natural to feel frustrated, hurt, or even powerless at times. But what if we could shift our perspective? What if, instead of viewing these challenges as obstacles, we saw them as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us? Buddhism teaches that every difficulty we face can be a teacher, a chance to cultivate virtues like patience, compassion, and resilience. Toxic individuals, as challenging as they may be, offer us a unique opportunity to practice these qualities in real, tangible ways. Let's begin with patience. Dealing with toxic behavior can test even the calmest among us. Whether it's enduring harsh words, manipulative actions, or constant negativity, our natural response might be to react in anger or frustration. But the Buddha taught that patience, or khanti, is a powerful antidote to these emotions. Think of patience as a muscle. It grows stronger the more we use it. Every interaction with a difficult person becomes an exercise in building this inner strength. When you choose to pause, take a breath, and respond with calmness instead of reactivity, you're not just protecting your peace. You're training your mind to remain steady even in the face of turmoil. Toxic individuals also give us the chance to deepen our compassion. It's easy to feel compassion for those who are kind to us, but true compassion, or karuna, extends even to those who challenge us. Remember, toxic behavior often stems from a place of suffering. Behind the anger, manipulation, or negativity, there is likely pain, insecurity, or fear. This doesn't mean you have to tolerate harmful behavior or ignore the impact it has on you. But by acknowledging the suffering that fuels such actions, you can approach the situation with greater understanding and empathy. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "When another person makes you suffer, it is because they suffer deeply within themselves and their suffering is spilling over. They do not need punishment, they need help." While it's not always our role to provide that help, recognizing this truth allows us to let go of resentment and respond from a place of kindness rather than anger. Another opportunity toxic relationships present is the chance to practice self-awareness. Difficult interactions often serve as mirrors, reflecting back areas where we may need to grow. For example, if someone's criticism deeply affects us, it might point to insecurities we haven't addressed. If their behavior makes us feel powerless, it could highlight the need to establish stronger boundaries. By paying attention to these emotional reactions, we can uncover valuable insights about ourselves. Each challenging interaction becomes a lesson, showing us where we can cultivate greater strength, confidence, or self-love. Buddhism also encourages us to embrace impermanence, or anicca. This principle reminds us that nothing in life is fixed, not our emotions, not our circumstances, and certainly not our relationships. Toxic interactions, no matter how difficult, are temporary. They are moments that come and go, like waves on the ocean. When we internalize this truth, we become less attached to the idea of fixing or controlling others. Instead, we focus on what we can control: our own responses, our own growth, and our own peace. Perhaps the greatest opportunity toxic relationships offer is the chance to practice forgiveness, not for the sake of the other person, but for ourselves. Holding on to anger or resentment only ties us to the negativity we're trying to escape. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. It means choosing to release the emotional weight it places on us. as the Buddha taught. In this world, hate never yet dispelled hate. Only love dispels hate. This is the law, ancient and inexhaustible. When you forgive, you free yourself. You reclaim your energy and your peace, allowing space for joy and positivity to flourish. Finally, toxic relationships challenge us to live with intention. They ask us to reflect on what kind of energy we want to carry, what kind of relationships we want to nurture, and what kind of person we want to be. By approaching these challenges as opportunities for growth, we take control of our own journey. In the end, the difficult people we encounter can become some of our greatest teachers. They push us to grow in ways we might never have chosen on our own. They remind us of the strength, patience, and compassion we hold within us. So, the next time you find yourself facing a toxic interaction, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this challenge to become wiser, kinder, and more resilient? By transforming challenges into opportunities for growth, we align ourselves with the Buddha's path. We turn adversity into a stepping stone, moving closer to the freedom and peace that lies within each of us. The path to inner peace. As we come to the end of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've explored together. Dealing with toxic people is never easy. It can challenge our patience, test our boundaries, and shake our inner peace. But through the wisdom of Buddhism, we find tools that empower us to navigate these challenges with grace, compassion, and strength. The path to inner peace begins with understanding. Recognizing that toxic behavior often stems from suffering or ignorance allows us to approach difficult individuals with empathy instead of anger. This perspective doesn't excuse their behavior, but it helps us see them as human beings, caught in their own struggles. With this understanding, we can begin to respond from a place of compassion rather than reactivity. Through practices like Metta loving-kindness meditation, we learn to cultivate kindness and goodwill, even for those who challenge us. By wishing happiness, health, and peace for others, we not only transform our own emotional responses, but also break the cycle of negativity that toxic interactions often create. This simple yet profound practice opens the door to healing and inner balance. At the same time, Buddhism reminds us of the importance of boundaries. Setting limits with compassion protects our well-being while allowing us to remain kind and mindful. Whether it's limiting time spent with toxic individuals, openly communicating our needs, or stepping back entirely, boundaries are an act of self-respect. They ensure that we can maintain our peace without becoming entangled in the negativity of others. And when all else fails, Buddhism teaches us to embrace acceptance and let go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or walking away in bitterness. It means releasing the emotional weight of resentment, anger, or the desire to control. By accepting situations and people as they are, we free ourselves from the suffering that comes from resistance. This act of letting go is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. As we've seen, even the most challenging relationships can become opportunities for growth. Toxic people, difficult as they may be, are some of our greatest teachers. They push us to develop patience, cultivate compassion, and deepen our self-awareness. They remind us of the impermanence of all things and the importance of focusing on what truly matters, our own growth, peace, and well-being. Now, I want to leave you with this thought. Inner peace is not about eliminating all negativity from your life. It's not about controlling the behavior of others or avoiding every difficult situation. Instead, inner peace is about cultivating the strength and wisdom to remain calm, balanced, and compassionate, no matter what comes your way. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within, do not seek it without." This is the essence of the Buddhist path. The world around us will always be imperfect. People will behave in ways that challenge us, and circumstances will arise that test our resilience. But when we turn inward, practicing mindfulness, compassion, and acceptance, we discover a wellspring of peace that no external force can take away. As you move forward, remember that this path is a practice. Some days will feel effortless, while others will test your resolve. Be gentle with yourself. Each moment is an opportunity to begin again, to realign with your values, and to cultivate the peace you deserve. Thank you for being here today, for joining me on this journey of reflection and growth. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to support this community of mindful living. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What resonated with you? How do you approach toxic relationships in your life? Remember, the path to inner peace is always available to you. It begins with a single step, the choice to respond with wisdom, compassion, and love. May you carry this wisdom into your daily life, and may you find peace in every moment. Thank you, and until next time, take care and be well.